Laser sights will make you a more accurate and confident shooter by providing visual feedback on sight alignment and trigger control. Crimson Trace, making laser sight standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
This is Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, now available on iTunes and other podcast clients, and on the free GunDealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android. Feel free to call Tom now at 1-TOM-TALK-GUN or 866-825-5486, or email Tom at guntalk.com. Now, once again, here's Tom.
Alrighty, back with you, Tom Gresham. It is Gun Talk. Our number here is 866-TALK-GUN. We are having a little fun today playing the 4-gun challenge. If you could pick only 4 guns, you had to live with that, what would they be? We're having some fun with that. But before we get back to that, I want to talk to you about something that's a little more serious. A lot of people have guns for self-defense. In fact, pretty much as long as they've been asking the question, self-protection has been the number one reason that people give for owning guns. Now, they may hunt with guns, and they may target shoot with guns, and they may compete with guns, but self-defense remains the number one reason that people own guns. I continue to be amazed at the number of people who don't understand the ins and outs of that and what could transpire if you get yourself into a self-defense situation, or even, weirdly enough, even if you don't shoot, you could get yourself into a lot of trouble, or at least a lot of problems. Even if you, and here's the main thing, even if you don't do anything wrong. Now, if you do something wrong, it just becomes even more difficult. But even if you don't do anything wrong, if you do everything right, you're still in for a passel of work, trouble, expense, horror, challenges for your family and everything else. The guy I go to find out about that is Marty Hayes. He created the Firearms Academy of Seattle, but also and I'm just going to tell you, a really good group that I have been supporting with my dollars for a long time. They recently became a sponsor of the show, and I'd like to have Marty on here talk about the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. Hey, Marty, how you doing, man?
I am doing great. It's a glorious day here in the Pacific Northwest today.
All right. I want people to understand that you and I have been friends for a long time. We've known each other for a long time. I have been a customer of yours for long before you became a sponsor of this show. That is correct, right?
That is absolutely correct, and we really appreciate it. You know, many years ago when you saw what we were doing, you signed up, paid your money and signed up, said, I want to be a part of this, and I respect that.
I mean, it was there. It's called the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. It's a long name. It's not exactly insurance, but it's kind of like insurance. How do you explain it when people are asking you, what is this thing?
We're like a big club, a big 13,000-member club, where if one of us in the club gets in trouble, then the club will come and help them basically with their legal fees.
Okay, I like that. It's a good short answer. Even I can understand that one, Marty. Okay, so we got 13,000 of us who put money into a pool here.
Right. When I started this, the idea was I would get together a few of my friends in the industry and run by this idea, and if it went well, they would start telling people, and we would enroll more friends, and we're really basically just a huge group of serious gun owners, trainers, attorneys that want to make sure that if one of us is involved in a self-defense incident, then we have the backing to be able to give a complete 100% legal defense.
Okay, just for those people to know your background, you were a professional law enforcement officer, you were a police officer, then a firearms trainer, and then have a law degree. So you come to this with a lot of different experiences that work very well for this.
Right. I've worked in law enforcement for many years, and I also was a firearms trainer through my school, the Firearms Academy of Seattle. And when I kind of got there's no more challenges with the academy of just running too smooth. So I decided, well, why don't I get my law degree and see where that takes us? And while I was going through law school part-time, I hit upon the idea about starting the network, and I talked to Masad Ayub and the late Jim Cirillo and John Farnham and Tom Givens and these guys, and says, hey, is this something that would work, you think? And if so, do you want to be a part of it? And they all said they did, and so we put it together and pushed the go button in January of 2008, and the rest, as they say, is history.
All right, how does it work? Somebody's they're a member, they've gotten involved with the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network, they're paying their annual dues, and they get into a situation, they're attacked, they have to defend themselves. What happens at that point?
Well, I'll tell you, the best way is an example. Just a week ago, last Saturday night, I got a call at 2 a.m. from the father of one of our members who says, listen, my son was just involved in an incident. We need to get his legal defense going. And I says, super, tell me the particulars. I don't know yet. I said, well, then, when you find out whether or not it was a self-defense incident, call me back. So about 5 hours later, we got back on the phone and said, yeah, I've talked to my son down at the jail, and he says that this guy was assaulting me, and so I had to draw my gun. I never did shoot anyone, but I had to draw my gun to stop it. And then he was arrested for assault with a deadly weapon. And so that's how we got involved. They did not have an attorney yet, and we like to have our members find an attorney beforehand, but they didn't have one. So it so happens that we had 3 attorneys in their local area, and we started looking at the different attorneys we had, and both the father and I settled on one of the attorneys as far as the best bet. I got on the phone, called the attorney, got his answering service. We went back and forth for a few minutes, and then within an hour later, we had the attorney hooked up with the client, and we were paying the attorney the legal costs to get him representation and to mount a legal defense.
And I want to jump right in here, Marty, because people need to understand the importance of getting a good attorney, or maybe the right attorney, and it may not necessarily be the top civil defense attorney in the area. Am I right? Or criminal defense attorney.
Criminal defense attorney.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and if you do have that guy, that's great, as long as he understands self-defense law and how to put together a self-defense case. The attorneys that we have involved with the Armed Citizen Legal Defense Network is, they've been educated on self-defense law and how to put together self-defense cases, and we're pretty comfortable with them. But here's the deal: you don't have to use a network attorney. If you've got your own attorney, that's great. We'll just pay your own attorney.
What's the difference between this and the insurance? Because, the NRA just came out with their own insurance deal, and they're going to make $1 gazillion on it, and they're pushing it, and everybody else has insurance. What's the difference? The
difference is we're concentrated on fighting the criminal fight and, frankly, the civil fight, too, up front. The insurance they always have limitations. Most of the popular plans have $100,000, $125,000, maybe $150,000 total limit that they would pay for your legal defense. Well, if you've got a serious case, that's a drop in the bucket. We have over $1 million in our legal defense fund, and we're willing to spend at least half of that on any given member at any given time if they need that much money for their legal defense. And so that's the biggest problem with the insurance right now, is there are limits to what you're going to be able to collect on. And when you get into those upper limits with the insurance companies, you're running into $300, $400 a year, whereas ours is like $135 and $95 a year renewal.
Okay, $135 first year, $95. Yeah. Now, the other thing you do is that you've got access to experts, people like, Masad Ayub and you and other people who could come in and go, no, look, we can bring in expert testimony. We can bring in people who have been there, done that, spent hundreds or thousands of hours in courtrooms with these kinds of cases.
Right, and understand that any attorney in the country can hire experts for their case. And so just because we have Masad Ayub and John Farnham and Dennis Tueller and Tom Givens on our advisory board, that doesn't mean that another attorney couldn't call one of them up and say, listen, can I use you on this case? Here's the particulars. But we've got we basically have a first row seat. You know, they're all good friends of mine. I've got their cell phone numbers. I can pick up the phone 24 hours a day and call them if I need them.
Right. I'm going to suggest to people, and you know, we can't go through the whole deal. If they'll go to your website, which is armedcitizensnetwork.org, there's a download they can get there. This is the deal right here. This is the story of a guy who just went through total hell. It's a 46-page PDF file, and once you read it, I'm just telling you, you will never in your life ever forget it. You will now understand why you need this kind of help. I mean, and it's a horror story, isn't it?
It really is, yeah. Larry went through hell, and the good news is, after about a year and a half, we finally got him basically acquitted. The judge, we had 2 mistrials, 2 hung juries, and the judge dismissed it with prejudice, saying it's over. You know, he doesn't have to worry about this anymore. Once you read this thing, you're going, oh, okay, that's why I need this, you know.
So I'm just going to, Marty, I just want to thank you for what you do. I want people to understand that I'm a believer, and I was long before you guys sponsored this show. I was there paying my money. I signed my wife up. I signed me up, and we've been members for a long time. It's armedcitizensnetwork.org. You can find out a whole lot more about it. Marty, thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks for having me on, Tom.
Absolutely. Marty Hayes at the armedcitizensnetwork.org. Take a look at it. All right, when we come back, 4-gun challenge. You can pick only 4 guns. They have to do for everything. Where are they going to be? 866-TALK-GUN.
Savage just made the modern sporting rifle better. Available in 4 variations, the MSR-15 Patrol and Recon and MSR-10 Hunter and Long Range. All with 5R rifling for easier cleaning and enhanced accuracy, correct gas system links for reliability and reduced recoil, upgraded trigger system, and corrosion-resistant barrels. Savage MSRs. Better comes standard. See more at savagearms.com or ask your local gun dealer to see the Savage MSR rifles.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. shopguntalk.com.
There's only one place where you can buy that firearm you've always wanted and turn it into your very own. That place is Brownells.com. Now offering a huge selection of firearms from all your favorite brands. Brownells is the spot to buy online. When you're choosing your gun, be sure to look over the enormous selection of parts, accessories, ammo, and more to make that firearm your masterpiece. Brownells.com. Serious about firearms.
Hardcore tactical professionals who put their lives on the line every day depend on Surefire. For decades, Surefire has built the first and finest professional-grade flashlights, weapon-mounted lights, hearing protection, and suppressors. We build the best because lives depend on it, and we know failure is not an option. We design, engineer, and manufacture Surefire products right here in the U.S. For you, for your loved ones, Surefire. American built, American strong. Surefire.com.
Oh, boy. First of all, a gun safety report. Very interesting. From Ed. He says he loaned a .22 pistol to a buddy who's a firearms trainer to use for some one-on-one training with a student. He brought it back. Ed says, I came very close to getting sucked into a bad situation. He says, I was ready to put it away, and my mind said, Steve is a gun guy. We train together. We've taken instructor courses together. I know the pistol is unloaded. Then he says, Tom Gresham's voice from Gun Talk Radio started playing in my head. Always check, always check, always check. So he says he dropped the mag, ran the slide, and a round came out on the kitchen counter. He says, I don't care how long you've been doing it or how good you are, people make mistakes. And when you pick up a firearm, always check that it's unloaded. Muzzle in a safe direction. Booger hook off the bang switch. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate that. Glad you checked. Sorry that you got my voice in your head, but there you go. Stuff happens, man. What can I tell you? Line 1, Tom's with us out of Hemp Hill, Texas. Tom, you went to one of my favorite places. Tell me about it.
Well, it was really an experience, Tom. And by the way, Ken told me to tell you hi.
You went to Gunsight.
Yes, sir. It was really something. My son and I went from here. It was a 3-day journey to Gunsight from T-Bend. I tell you what, I forgot how big this country it really is.
And half of it's Texas.
That's right. But it was truly an experience. We enjoyed it. Learned from some very smart people that knew what they were doing. They were at the top of their game. They were 4-0 all the way through.
Yeah, Tom started in Toledo Bend, right on the Louisiana-Texas border, drove across Texas, got to Prescott, Arizona, Paulden, actually, Gunsight Academy there. He's talking about Ed, the folks there are just fabulous. I tell you, Ken Campbell, the guys at Gunsight, all the instructors are top-notch. It's like I say, it's one of my favorite places there. Tom, I appreciate you taking time to give us the range report. It is. Let me ask you a question. Now, I've said this before to a lot of people, and I know people kind of roll their eyes. If they haven't been there, they don't know what they're talking about. I have said to people before, when you go to Gunsight and take a 5-day class there, it will change your life. Do you think I'm overstating that?
No, I don't, because the people that train you, they train you to keep yourself alive. And and the people that are doing it are the experts. I mean, you're getting 1-to-1 training by the best there is.
Yeah, when you come away from it, you are not the same person, and you will never be the same person again in your entire life. Tom, thank you. I appreciate that range report. Let's go down line 4. Don's with us out of Idaho, Lewiston, Idaho. Hey, Don.
Howdy. Yeah, with
Four
your
guns.
4-gun, I got the set for you. Start with a little Model 39 Marlin with about an 18 or 20 inch barrel.
22 lever action,
12.
like it.
Yep. Good pump 12 gauge. Oh, I don't know, 870 Remington Model 500 Mossberg.
Mm-hmm.
Either a 1911 in 10 millimeter or a 4-inch 44. And a 300 or 338 Winchester.
It was the first 10 millimeter we've had tossed in. I like it. I noticed you say 10 millimeter or 44 revolver. I like those choices. You know, it's funny how we all end up on kind of the same thing. There's some variations, but kind of similar. A 22 rifle, a 12 gauge shotgun. A lot of them are pumps. Some kind of bolt action rifle in usually a 30 caliber, sometimes some other things. And then some form of semi-magnum or magnum handgun. That's interesting.
Yep.
All right,
yeah,
man. Thanks. I appreciate that. I love the answers. I think you're right on board. This makes all the sense in the world to me. I have no problem with that. Tom's in Medford, Oregon. He wants to play. He's on line 3. 4 guns, Tom. What are yours?
All right. First off, I've got the Gunworks LR1000 in 7 LRM for my long range.
Okay.
With proof research carbon fiber barrel.
Of course.
Next up, I would have the Patriot Ordnance P415 and 223. Next up, I would do the Mossberg 500 pump action. And lastly, I would do the Glock 20 10mm.
Okay. Now, which of those do you currently own?
I own the Patriot Ordnance P415, the Mossberg 500, and the Glock 20.
Okay. So you're almost there. You're 3/4 of the way there, and you're only going to spend as much on the last one as you spent on the first three.
Yeah. Yeah, that last one's about 10,000. So
exactly, that's my point. But hey, as long as we're just playing, right? It's just play money, right?
Exactly.
All right, thanks, Tom. Good choices. I like what you're doing. I like the way you're thinking it through. Line 2, Brian is Coos Bay, Oregon, with his 4 guns. I don't know if it's any different on the West Coast out there. Brian, what are you thinking?
Well, my 4 guns is pretty in line with everybody else. I have a Glock Model 22, and I have the Ruger 1022, and I have a little different, which would be the Seiko 243 with a match barrel and a Redfield 4x12. And for my shotgun, I shoot a Browning A5. Shot it all my life, and I love it, and very reliable.
Well, I think the world's divided into people who love the A5 and people who can't shoot them worth a flip, because it just is so different with that hump back on it. But if you like them, you just love the heck out of them. And so I get that. But I'm curious about the choice of a 243. Tell me what went into that.
Well, I've hunted with guides, and a lot of the guides I've hunted with actually shoot a 243 for elk. I've hunted everything from blacktail to elk, and my 243 with the match barrel, it's a little heavy because it's a bull barrel also, but, the accuracy is just unsurpassed in my mind, and you've got to be aiming at a certain spot and pick your spots, and it just does the job.
I think that's the whole answer right there. If you can put the bullet where it's supposed to go, and if the lower recoil of the 243 helps you do it, and I think it does, then it will do whatever it is. And you just put good bullets to it, and yeah, you can shoot out with 243. And I know some people are going, oh, no, don't say it. Yes, you can. You can do that. It just goes to the vitals, and the good bullet gets in there, and you can hit what you're aiming at because it doesn't kick you so much. All right, you only can have 4 guns. What are they? 866 Talk Gun.
Gun Talk encourages you to support the local sporting goods store, gun stores, ATV dealers, and other local businesses in your area who advertise on this station and Gun Talk. Only together can we protect our rights. You're listening to Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
All right, we have write-in candidates. People writing in with their choices on the 4 gun. Let's see. Art says, I suppose my 4 choices might be considered simplistic by more experienced gun owners, but here they are. A Ruger Mini 14. Interesting. I like it. Mossberg 20 gauge pistol grip. No, don't like that. Not a fan of straight pistol grip guns for the do-all thing, because, you can't do any wing shooting with that. And, yeah, okay. If you got that, then you could put a long... Yeah, no. Ruger 1911 Commander and a Beretta 92 FS. So I don't get those two. If you're going to have a 1911 and a Beretta 92 FS, just not, I don't know. There's no 22 in there. There's no center fire. Well, the Mini 14. I don't know. It wouldn't be my choice, but that's what makes it interesting, individual. All right, Christopher writes in, says his choices are Ruger Scout Rifle in .308, Ruger 1022 Takedown model. I like that. Glock 19 in 9mm. He says, but I reserve the right to change to a .357 mag 4-inch barrel. Okay. 12-gauge shotgun, currently Remington 1187 with a self-defense barrel. He says it was a hard decision not to include an AR-15. But I do reserve the right to switch. Yes, do we all? I like it. Marty's on line 1 out of Washington State. Marty, 4 guns. What are you choosing?
Yeah, Tom, I had to call back and play the game.
Oh, it's Marty Hayes.
Yeah. First one, Smith & Wesson Model 19 2.5-inch 357 Magnum revolver.
Yeah,
it's a great do-all gun. I can hit game out to 100 yards with it. I can carry it for self-defense. Second gun, Nighthawk Custom 10mm lightweight commander. Most powerful gun I can find in a small concealable package.
Okay.
Third gun, Benelli 121 M1 12-gauge shotgun. I think it's still the finest combat shotgun ever made, even though it's, they quit making about 20 years ago.
Right.
And then lastly, Olympic Arms 6x45. 6mm bullet, 223 case necked up to take that bullet. It can serve as a close quarters rifle. I use it on patrol. It can also serve as a sniper rifle, precision rifle for intermediate, and it can serve as a hunting rifle because it's a 6mm.
Wow. Good choices. I like it. And I like the fact that you started off with a .357 Magnum revolver.
Yeah, I own all of them, and so I'm not getting rid of them.
Now, tell me about that 10mm you listened.
Well, I had Nighthawk Custom here a year ago build me a 10mm on their lightweight commander frame called the Talon 2. And the reason behind it is because I wanted the best, most powerful handgun cartridge I could have, but in a gun that I can conceal and carry every day.
Wow, that's a nice choice. I like that.
It does not recoil as much as one would think either.
Interesting. Well, 10mm is making a bit of a comeback. It's not huge, but I see more interest in it. What are you seeing?
Don't really see much more interest in it, except for me.
And that's all that counts, right?
For me, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Marty. I appreciate it.
Okay, Tom, take care.
All right, Marty Hayes. He was our guest earlier, but he said, I got to play, man. He's a gun guy. I love it. Line 4, Mike is in Farmington, New Mexico. Hey, Mike, you're choosing 4. What are they?
Smith & Wesson 686, Ruger 1022, Winchester Model 70 Featherweight in 308. And this one was a tough one, but a Browning Sweet 16.
Oh, interesting. First 16 gauge anybody listed. Now, did you grow up with a Sweet 16?
Yes, I grew up with it. It was a hard choice between that and the 870 and the BTS and the Satori's and everything else, but it's always been flawless. Of course, you got to deal with friction rings and everything else, but I had to go with my gut on that one.
Okay, I like it. Thank you, sir. I'm sitting there laughing because we're all going, yeah, well, I had to choose between, and then you list like 4 or 6 or 8 shotguns you got. And then, but I had the Glock, but I also had the Smith, and I had the Ruger, and I know, that's where we are. It's same place. It's fun stuff here. Tell you what, let me take a quick break here. Then we got Miles, and we got other folks on here giving us range reports and their selections. If you've been shooting recently, I'd love to get your range report. If you've been doing any training recently, tell me about the place you went, the people you trained with. Let me know what's going on there. Also, I'm going to have a thought or two on parents who say they'll do anything to protect their children. Really? 866-TALK-GUN.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition, and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit SigSauer.com today.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
The Black Hills. There's nothing like it on Earth. The kind of place where characters become legends. Wild Bill Hickok, Crazy Horse, Calamity Jane. Pick any part of the world and you'll find people go there to make it their own. But this is where people come to get made. This is the place that made the people who make the best ammo on Earth. Black Hills Ammunition.
All right, we're doing our, maybe it's an annual thing we do. It's just kind of fun. If you had to pick only 4 guns that you had to live with, what would they be? It forces you to kind of think about the role of what you shoot, how you shoot, if you hunt, self-defense. What do you like to take out to the range? What's the maximum utility you could get out of any particular platform or cartridge? Can it do multiple things? But then again, you have people like David who's written in. Because David he's an out-of-the-box kind of thinker. David's the guy that pushes right up to the line and maybe just puts a toenail over it. I like the way David's thinking. He says, would an AR-15 with multiple uppers be considered one gun? It says, my .22 long rifle, 204 Ruger, 7.62 by 25, 6.5 Grendel, and 50 Beowulf each have their own lower. But if they had to share a lower, would they count as just one of the 4 choices? Keep at it, David. I like the way you think there, my friend. Let's see. And then Barry writes in and says, SIG P250 subcompact 9, says I carry it every day. Ruger Super Red Hawk and 480 Ruger cut to 5 inches. This is my backcountry bear defense gun. He lives in Alaska. Sig Sauer MCX in 5.56 or build an AR-15. And then number 4, custom-built Montana Rifle Company stainless in 45 Whalen. He says, I had to sell my 1988 Remington 700 Classic in 45 Whalen. Man, good choice. Man, this is interesting stuff. People are doing some really fun stuff. Let's see here. Miles is on line 3 in Reno, Nevada. Hey, Miles.
Hello. My 4 guns, it's a pretty simple choice, actually, depending on what part of the world I'm in. If I'm in the United States, 3 Knights SR 15 rifles with 3 position selectors. If I'm in another part of the globe, probably 3 Steyr AUGs, 1 Quest, and a CZ75 pre-B model for my handgun. Just one question. Does a 40 millimeter underbarrel grenade launcher count as a separate weapon?
I don't know, but it sure counts as a lot of fun. You go, Miles. I love it. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that call. Line 2. Is it Conal? Is in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with a range report for us. Did I get that name right? Is it Conal?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Okay. Where'd you go?
Well, my father and my brother and I drove out to Alabama, and we went to do 3 days of private training with Tiger McKee.
Uh-huh. Well, what'd you think?
I loved it. I loved his simplistic approach. It was really great. I had done quite a bit of shooting on my rifle, my AR, but I had really not shot my handgun hardly at all. And so I kind of came to it cold, and so I didn't have any bad habits. And so now when I shoot it, I just love it. He's a phenomenal teacher. So it was great.
He is that. And I'm just going to say that there are people you run into who are trainers who are like, they were super operators and this and that and the other. And then there are those who are the phenomenal teachers. The Clint Smith is a phenomenal teacher. Tom Givens, Rangemaster. And I put Tiger McKee at the very top, right alongside several others. Tiger McKee is a born teacher. And it's weird when you talk to him, and I had people talk to him and go, well, he's kind of soft-spoken and kind of a slow-talking Southerner. I don't know how this is going to work. And then when he gets on the line, he becomes a different person, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Well, I'm kind of one of those slow-talking Southerners, so I really appreciated it.
Yeah, but on the line, he becomes dynamic and forceful and clear, and he presents his message in a very studied, thorough way. And when you come away from it, there's nothing he has presented that you don't fully grasp, because he has spent hundreds or thousands of hours thinking about how to teach every little thing he says.
Yes, and if you don't understand it, he goes back over it with you, even privately, just to make sure that you got it down. For example, I was having a little bit of trouble with my AR recently, and he told me if I needed help to shoot him an email, and so I did. And he shot me back an email, and he laid out the different points on exactly what I needed to do, and that definitely helped. So,
yeah, he is a consummate teaching professional, firearms professional. I love working with Tiger. Thank you for the great range report. Thank you, sir. For those who don't know Tiger, we've had him on the TV show several times. You know what we did? We went out and grabbed a video with him. If you want to see him in action, just go to our website, shopguntalk.com. Pick up his DVD. It's called Fighting with the 1911, but it's really about handguns and just using any handgun and fighting with a handgun, because that's what self-defense with a handgun is. It's fighting. And you will then see what we're talking about, the way he presents. But, yeah, he's really good. He's in the Gunnersville, Alabama area, but he will travel. But just go to his website, ShootRite, SHOOTRITE, shootright.org. Tiger McKee. Let's see. Ron, Topeka, Kansas, line 1. 4 guns, Ron. Go for it.
4 guns, that's a tough deal, buddy. My top of the list is 308 Winchester, 700 Remington Action. Number 2, Ruger Red Hawk, 44 mag. Carry pistol, 66 Smith 2.5, 357 mag. And my all-around favorite, super high-powered, 220 Swift Custom.
A 220 Swift. Wow. Did not think we were going to get one of those. I didn't even expect the 22-250, but I really didn't expect a Swift. How long have you been shooting Swift?
Buddy, I've been shooting Prairie Dog Swifts since 1980.
I'm going to tell you my quick story, because you're going to appreciate this. I'm out shooting Prairie Dogs, and we got 223s and 22-250s, and then I got a buddy who brought his Swift, and I'd never shot a Swift before. This is many years ago. And for those who think that the 223 is a laser beam out there, you're just dreaming, because when I pulled the trigger on a Swift, it was like everything went into hyperspeed, and that Prairie Dog blew up in a way that I'd never seen anything happen like that before, and I was a believer at that point. It is a light year ahead of everything else. It is amazing how good this Swift is.
Yep, starting to come back a little bit, but yes, it's a blast, and I appreciate taking the time.
Absolutely. I appreciate your call, sir. Wow. I did not think that would happen. 220 Swift. Yeah, the 220 Swift is awesome. Just think of your 223 going a whole bunch faster. I mean, like a whole bunch faster. We're talking about our fun little thing we're doing here, the 4-gun challenge, I guess, if you could have only 4 guns. Okay. And yes, I know it's a horrible idea. It's frightening. We're like wake up in a cold sweat thinking about that. I got to get rid of all of them but 4. But what would they be? And we're getting some people who have put a lot of thought into that. And you will notice, have you noticed the revolvers in here in the mix? What have I been saying? I've been telling you, revolvers. If you don't have one, you need one, because they're just cool and they work. And they're chambered for cool cartridges. 866-TALK-GUN. right, I got an email from Alan. Subject line is 4 guns from a cop on patrols. He's out patrolling right now. But he's put some thought into this, and I like it, and I'll tell you why. He says, first of all, the 1022 scoped. Yep, 22 rimfire. 5.56 tactical AR-15. Okay, 5.56. You can shoot 223 and 5.56 in it. Check. Savage BA-10 patrol and 308 with Patriot Arms HUD scope. So semi-auto 308. Pay attention to the calibers here. Glock 17 with a TLR-1 and a weapon-mounted light, and Amerigo IDOT sights. It says they always go bang, and here's the kicker to the whole thing. In a lawless situation, there's lots of ammo to be scavenged. He's talking about the 9. But I'm actually thinking about the choices of caliber. 22, 5.56, 308, and 9mm. You'll note no shotgun here. And that's okay, but just from the standpoint of somebody who's on patrol, who's out working. But you can always find ammo for 223, 22, 308, and 9mm. Good choices. I like them. Let's see. Let's go to Heiko on line 4 out of Carson City, Nevada. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Benny. I'm sorry. My mistake. It's Benny on line 4. We're out of Corpus Christi, Texas. Hey, Benny. Let's see. I believe Benny's on 2 there. Hey, Benny.
Good afternoon, Tom.
Hey.
Call you and tell you my 4-gun choice.
Okay.
All righty. We got the Mossberg 500. We've got the AR-15 and 223 5.56, of course. We've got the old Smith & Wesson Model 59 and 9mm. And then if I can ever get my hands on it, it would be the Gunsight Scout Rifle and 308.
They're just hard to come by?
No. Well, my wife is the one with the finances. So when Mama says go, I can go. But you know how it is, happy wife, happy life. So
yeah, I get it. I get it. By the way, I understand we still owe you a hat.
Oh, well, I'm in no hustle.
We're going to get there.
I'm in no hurry.
All right. So we got I got your address again, so I appreciate your patience. We will put that in again. I probably dropped the ball or dropped the handoff between me and the folks at our office because they're very good about it, and I tend to be a little absent-minded. So I appreciate you bearing with us, but I appreciate that. Good choices, by the way. I like your choices. Let's go up to line 3 really quickly. Ray, I got 1 minute for you, so dive in, please.
Okay, I hope I can bring it in fast. Basically, I was calling to pick a very small bone with you when you were once talking about increasing penalties for the use of a gun in a crime. And in general, yeah, I do agree with that at the local level, but we've just gotten a nice present from Jeff Sessions. I think it's about the 3rd or 4th since Trump took office. He is working very hard with the U.S. attorneys to get the local DAs to refer cases involving prohibited persons caught in possession of a gun, especially in the commission of a felony, for federal prosecution so they can hit them with the big hammer.
Okay, let me jump in because I'm going to run out of time, but let me jump in. Yes, if somebody breaks the law, if it's a felon in possession of a gun, absolutely prosecute that. But what I don't like is the idea of saying we're going to have additional penalties for the use of a gun in a crime because a crime is not worse because you used a gun. A murder is not worse because you used a gun. A carjacking is not worse because you used a gun. And the idea of saying we're going to have additional penalties if you used a gun is simply saying, see, guns are inherently that awful that we have to add additional penalties on it. I just think it's wrong. A murder is a murder, and the penalty should be the same regardless of the instrument used. Just my thing on that. 866 Talk Guns. Still talking 4-gun challenge? What's your pick?